And we are jumping right on in. We're going to swing into game picks. And I told Addison this earlier in the pod. Last week, underdogs only covered one game.
Wow.
13-1 for favorites covering. And it was the biggest spread. Philly and Cleveland. Cleveland covering. It's the only one. All right, let's get into Week 7 game picks, starting with a Thursday night stinker, in my opinion, honestly. Yeah. Denver at New Orleans. The line is Denver minus 2.5 as the road team. Saints tried to be frisky last week with Spencer Rattler. Obviously, we're recording this on Tuesday afternoon, so I don't know who the starting quarterback is going to be.
Well, I bet it's Rattler.
I think it's Rattler. It's Cardone.
Well, I saw that he was expected to start for like 3 to 4 games.
Oh, okay.
Jay Glazer normally has the shits with QB.
Yeah, he does. He is normally in on it. Bronco. Yes. Broncos were on a 2-game win streak. Tried to come back against the Chargers this past week. Couldn't pull it off, even when the Chargers lost their coach to a heart arrhythmia. That's crazy. I am going to take the minus 2.5 for Denver here.
Does it change your mind that Pat Surtain had a concussion and is probably out?
Ooh.
He's probably out. He's in good spirits, but he got a concussion and the game was ruled out in game. And then Thursday night, he's probably out.
Oh God! Just do I believe in the Saints? I'm gonna. That is important because I think he's Denver's best overall player.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Saints plus 2.5 as the home team. Not love it at all because that defense for Denver has been fantastic, but I like taking points for a home team here. Give me the Saints just to cover, please. They're gonna get their ass kicked, I'm sure. Colin, what do you got?
Saw a stat. The best 2 red zone defenses this year are the Broncos and the Saints.
Oh, okay.
So
no points.
So which rookie quarterback is going to step up and execute down in that red zone, right down in the money zone when it matters the most? Obviously, you got the Sean Payton revenge game. It's alive and well in this one. Did see, I think, Carr, Olave, Taysom Hill, and Tyrann Mathieu are more than likely out as well.
Yeah, short week. You're going to miss anybody who's banged up.
Right. And so just that factor, I will take Denver here on the road just because of the hell of it. Not a great game, probably low scoring.
Yeah, feels like a 20-17 kind of game.
I think the over-under is 37.5.
Oh,
man, I have New Orleans picked here, and that is what I'm going to ride with. I think Spencer Rattler had a good first half. Adjustments killed them in the second half. The Bucs did not allow a second half point. And they
27 points in that quarter.
Yeah, that's insane.
One
quarter, but second game for Spencer Rattler, just another week of practice, getting things going. Bo Nix, I thought, played 2 touchdowns a pick. He was 19 for 33, 200 yards. I thought the Broncos showed that they're still the Broncos, and the 3-game winning streak was great, but I don't know if it's going to turn into anything for the future. And as crazy as it is, I think I have more belief and hope in the potential of Rattler, at least for this game. So I'm taking the New Orleans Saints at home, plus 2.5. Did you say Shaheed? Because I saw he's also out because there's a knee injury. So maybe I am taking a team with no skill weapons, and then it is a Sean Payton revenge game. I'm still taking the Saints though.
What's his name? Bubba Means?
Yeah, Bubba Means.
Bubba Means went crazy.
Give me the Saints plus the 2.5. Screw it.
Okay. I got Bobby's picks. I'm just trying to follow up on one of them that he's missing, so that's why I'm texting there.
There was a time in that second quarter where the Bucs were going back and forth to, I think, Sean Palmer?
Was it Trey Palmer? No, it was Sean Palmer. Sean Tucker. Sean Tucker, because it was Trey Tucker.
And then it was Bubba Means.
Yeah.
Like, who the hell are these
Who
guys?
is playing football right now? It's crazy. Bobby's on the Saints with me and you. Alrighty, next up, let's get into London, where is this punishment for the American Revolution? Like, are we saying, hey, England, suck it? Like, have fun watching the New England Patriots come to town to take on the Jacksonville Stinky Jaguars. This is a Doug Peterson doesn't come home game. It has to be. Yeah. Peterson's out. Jags can't stop a nosebleed. Patriots actually have a decent defense. Ooh, okay. I'm gonna take the favorites were 13-1 last week. Gotta remember that. 13-1 last week.
I already got you on win under, dog.
Shit.
Thanks.
You're right, I do. Oh no, I'm screwed. Addison, you go first. I'm out.
Yep.
I'm bailing.
Well, I'll say this. Drake May, I thought, played well in his debut. 2 picks, but 3 touchdowns, and there were times the offense moved the football. Yep. Jacksonville, Doug Peterson saying there needs to be a culture change. My guy, you're the head coach.
Hey,
that's tough.
Attitude, respect, leadership,
captain. Yeah, no, seriously. I'm taking New England. I took them last week. They bit me in the ass, but at times they were close enough. I think Jacksonville, their defense is horrendous. Linebacker play bad tackling, bad secondary play. Their defensive line, Offense has got pieces and it moved the ball decently against the Bears, but the way Drake May played, if both teams can move the football, this will be within 5.5. So give me the Patriots to cover. Jacksonville's bad. This could be Doug Peterson not coming home, being affiliated with the Jacksonville Jags. Yeah,
I like that. I find it really hard to disagree with you. I find it very hard to disagree with you. I am going to be a sucker, though, and disagree, because obviously that's worked out so well for me with our current pick record. Addison 56-36 and me 37-55. So me disagreeing with Addison is going very well. I am just going to take the Jags mainly because they're the favorites, and also Houston just beat New England by 20, and Jacksonville actually fought Houston well. It was a close game. It was like a 3 or 4 point game. Yeah, it came down to the last minute of the game. So I am going to take Jacksonville playing for their coach's life. Like, if you lose this game to New England, Doug Peterson, you're done.
But my question is, how many of the players want that?
Right, yeah, how many of them want him out?
Players
True.
are openly questioning and saying they quit, sort of, in a way, in the game against the Bears.
Yeah,
It's like,
you're
well,
right.
We lost the team there, Doug.
Yeah, man.
But 5.5, Vegas clearly thinks that they should handle.
Right. I'm sure they're considering it neutral, so they're thinking they're 5.5 points better. I do think Jacksonville is a significantly more talented roster. I don't know what is going wrong. I don't understand what's going on. And I complained about the fact that they didn't go out and get any secondary help at all this offseason. That is proving to be true. They desperately need help in the secondary. But what happened to the offense? Where are we at?
I'll say this. Jags have been one
In
score
games.
Every
In it.
game except 2. Bills blew them out, and then Bears blew them
blew 'em
out.
out.
Even in the victory against the Colts, it was a one-score game. So
Yeah.
they keep it close. I mean, hey, it's leaning Patriots then.
That's true. Very true. I am going to just take the favorite Jags just because favorites went crazy last week.
Well, that's so true, though.
Colin?
I'm also going to be on the Jags with you guys. Just a sucker play.
It
They're
is.
overseas,
It is.
staying overseas. I think that does play a
That's
factor.
true. That's true.
Additionally, Jacksonville can kind of stop the run defensively.
Mm-hmm.
Last week they didn't look great against Chicago. Maybe that's just more in praise of Chicago and their run game.
Figuring it out.
Figuring it out a little bit, leading to that play action, double play action.
Figured it up.
Yeah.
Additionally, kind of the Jags offense, looking at it, they are second in the NFL in yards per carry. Only problem is they run it 38% of the time. So why are we? I understand in these games you're trailing, you have to throw, but initiate that run, get it going earlier in the game, and maybe you get a lead. Maybe you don't have to throw. ETN also likely out this week. Absolute bust this year for my fantasy team.
They keep
Already
stealing him right before I could take
Yep.
him.
Already putting the claim for Tank Bixby. Hopefully it comes through.
Yeah, he is.
Because he'll be leading the charge this weekend. But give me the Jags minus the 5.5.
Yeah, it's crazy that this is a game that's hard to pick, especially when you look at where we projected each of these teams before the season. Like Patriots, worst team in the league, and they're living up to that billing. Jags were supposed to be a playoff contending team. They're supposed to bounce back this year with all the changes they have made. And I will say, I saw a stat today that they have the most drop passes in the entire NFL since 2020 with 116.
That's crazy.
They dropped like 3 touchdowns on Sunday. Gabe Davis.
It was 4.
It was
3
4.
in
4 was
one
it 4?
drive.
Okay.
3 in one drive. but
Jeez.
4 touchdown drops.
That's crazy.
And I'll say this, though, as well. Jacksonville's offense, counterintuitive, they take long drives, long time off the clock
Don't score.
to not score touchdowns
score.
because they
Take
shoot
3.
themselves in the foot in the red zone.
Mhm.
And when they get in the green zone, 10 yards in, they really shoot themselves in the
suck.
foot. They get holdings, any false starts, anything to back them up, and then force them to take a 3. It's tough. It's killer.
Yeah, they are they're shooting themselves in the foot here. So, all right, next up, we've got the Seattle Seahawks traveling to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. Currently, the line is Falcons -3. That feels disrespectful to Atlanta. I don't think Seattle's any good, personally. I mean, they're not bad, right? They're 3-3, but their 3-0 start was a complete mirage, complete garbage. They didn't play anybody. Atlanta is absolutely hitting their stride right now. They won by, 18 this weekend after Kirk Cousins threw for 500 the week before. It's also Kirk Cousins at noon, which is when he is at the height of his powers. I mean, you cannot tell me that these teams are equal. How is this only a 3-point spread in Atlanta? I don't love that because what do the books know that I don't? But I'm all over Atlanta -3 in this spot. It just seems like a gimme.
I'm also all over Atlanta. There have been multiple disrespectful spreads this season, and I've slammed them, and this is definitely another one. Seattle last week, a 12-point loss to San Francisco, catapulted by a 97-yard kickoff return from Laviska Shenault.
Yeah.
Without that, don't really know if Seattle gets it going. It could really have been a complete ass-kicking. San Fran piled it on late. Did love to see the touchdown late because screw your division rival. Pounded in on them. But talking about this week, man, Atlanta, they're going to be a team that's competing for the NFC Championship game. Straight up, the way Kirk Cousins is playing, the way the defense is playing, they've got weapons everywhere. Bijan getting less carries than Al-Jair is a problem.
Crazy to me.
He had 15 rushes for 94 yards. Al-Jair had 18 carries. I understand Bijan gets passing game reps, but I want more Bijan. He's on my fantasy team, but I still want more Bijan. Give me Atlanta -3, though. I think this is a beatdown. I'm talking 14 plus. I might even bet an alt spread of -13.5. I think they kick the shit out of them. Seattle has the offense. Atlanta has the defense to match it. They've got the secondary, the corners to compete with big physical guys like DK. Give me Atlanta -3 and a rolling.
Yeah. Yep. Colin, thoughts on this one? Bobby's on Seattle, by the way.
That makes me feel good.
Me too.
It is interesting.
Just kidding, Bob.
Just kidding, Bob.
Of course, adding on to the quickness and the haste of getting out of the place, left all of my notes.
Of
at
course,
home
it's
as well,
perfect.
Naturally,
Perfect.
did see Seattle 5-1 on overs this year, so they do like to score, like to give it up. Atlanta scored 26 plus in the last 3 games, so
That's good.
maybe a nice shootout in the dome on Sunday.
That'd be fun.
But Addison, you kind of touched on the double-headed, the two-headed monster, if you will, with Aljair and Bijan.
Yeah,
Seattle's defense has looked really different the last few weeks without Byron Murphy in the middle
huge
there.
Loss.
Their run defense has really started to give it up. And, I mean, Seattle's lost 3 in a row. Atlanta's won 3 in a row. I mean, these two teams are headed in completely opposite directions. But give me those Falcons at home. I agree with you guys. I just think they're too much.
Yeah.
I will say, the definite casual looks at this and is salivating at
Atlanta, they are.
I don't care.
They are.
I don't care.
I just can't
that's
see.
disrespect.
It is.
That
It is.
I mean, about 10:30 this morning, it was 2.5 for Atlanta. And I was just like, oh, my. That's
Oh,
There
I
might
would
be
love
an
that.
injury. There might be an injury.
Maybe,
or something
maybe
because-
Cousins just hobbled and we just don't know it.
seriously, Because
That's the only way.
He was dancing. He was doing a swag shit.
Yeah, he was happy.
So I don't know.
Interesting.
Still though.
This next game is actually one you cannot get on FanDuel currently. They've got it locked out. So we're going with ESPN spread. It is Tennessee at Buffalo. Buffalo -8.5. I'm assuming because of the Amari Cooper recent trade news. And they're like, well, we got to probably give them points for that. Buffalo -8.5 is a massive spread. Oh, Colin, what are your thoughts on this football game? I'm afraid to take this one.
You know, I love me some Buffalo Bills.
No one circles the wagons.
Nobody circles those wagons. But this is a game, Buffalo, just on paper, you look at it and you're like, yeah, this is a beating. This is a Jacksonville Jaguars going to Buffalo earlier this season type of beating. Tennessee can't throw the ball. You got Calvin Ridley now lashing out. Hey, you got to give me targets earlier in the game.
Yep.
I did have to start him in one fantasy league this last week. Yikes. Do I trust Buffalo enough? I don't. I'm going to take Tennessee plus 8.5. Just too many points for me. Too many points.
So many points. And you look at last week, like, I want to take the Bills, but everybody and their mother was all over Philly -8.5 over Cleveland last week because it's Philly's so much better than Cleveland. Cleveland's dog shit. So is Tennessee. But 8.5 points is so many points for the Bills, man. It's so many points. But Tennessee's a bad team. Buffalo has blown out bad teams this year. So I am going to go ahead and stay with them. The Jets have a good defense, which is why that game was held close in 23-20. And the wind was crazy, so they're both missing kicks left and right. I'm going to throw that one out. I got to go Buffalo -8.5 here. They're just the better team, man. And they, like I said, against bad teams, they have completely slaughtered them. Against good teams, they've struggled, and it's been a lot closer of games. But bad teams, they're just absolutely thumping. So give me the Bills -8.5.
Yeah, I'll say they're absolutely thumping on their offense. They score points. I mean, they got one big win with the Jacksonville win. Other than that, it's been close besides the Dolphins, but I count that as a Tua getting hurt. You know, it's a tough one, you know, because I don't say Dolphins are bad. They lost their QB. That's a tough one. But, damn, this is a lot of points. But Tennessee sucks. Tennessee is bad. The way Buffalo ran the football as well gives me big confidence. But Amari Cooper, the big trade, I wonder how much of an impact he will be if he even plays. If he even plays, because this isn't a situation where it's Devontae going to something he's been on, you know, and ran with a guy. No, it's Amari getting to a new place, new playbook, the whole thing. Colin, I'm going to ride with you at Tennessee +8.5, and I'll go with the two-headed back in Tennessee is the reason why. Give me Pollard, give me Spears making an impact in this game. Will Levis doing just enough to keep it close. They lose by a touchdown, and there's another funny picture of Will Levis floating around.
There's got to be another one. There has to be. My thing with this one is, can the Bills score 26 points on the Titans? Because the Titans have only scored more than 17 points one time. It was against Miami when Miami was completely down and out. So that's the only time they've scored 17 points. Right, and 2 touchdowns I think were late. So they had 17 against the Bears, 17 against the Jets, 14 against the Packers, and then 17 against the Colts. They just, can the Bills score 26 points? That's what it comes down to for me. I think they can. I don't see how the Titans can score enough to keep it close. We'll see. It's
I will say,
a lot of
Buffalo
points.
over the years as well, the reason I'm picking Tennessee is they have a letdown game.
They do.
against a
They
bad
always
team
do.
every year.
Mm-hmm.
There's Jags a couple years ago in Jacksonville. It was like,
Yep.
no chance Buffalo loses. But then, I don't know. This is a weird one, but Tennessee covers, I think.
Okay,
Who knows?
I like it. And Bobby's with me on the Bills, and you two are on Tennessee. I like that. That's one of those ones where it's like, if it's money line, it's a no-brainer. But with spreads, man, that just makes it a little more of a conversation.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got an AFC North matchup. Cincinnati Bengals going to Cleveland. Bengals minus 6.5 on the road. It's a lot of points. Colin, what are your thoughts here?
It's a lot of points. Browns have been down and out on now for a couple of weeks. However,
That roster's bad, and they might be blowing it up with Amari Cooper gone. Who knows who else goes?
Murray gone. But then again, they covered last week, so it's like, is that more? I'll say, is that more credit to Cleveland or worse to? I mean, when they had that, what was it, a field goal block return for a touchdown, it was like, oh, that helps out a lot for sure. I will take Cincinnati on the road here. On the road in division, especially in the AFC North, I hate taking 6.5. However, that is a number.
I do like the number.
You're looking at in these types of games. Cincinnati offensively seeming to get it going, although it took a while on Sunday. So give me those Bengals on the road. I think they can score 20, and I don't think Cleveland can.
Okay.
So I think if they get to 20, they can cover that 7.
I agree.
6.5.
I'm also on Cincinnati minus 6.5. I think the G-men might be friskier than people think, really. And that's why that game was close. Cleveland, on the other hand, I think Philly might be a little higher than what some people think. I think Sirianni's gone soon, but we're talking about this one. Cleveland, they're blowing it up, and I think Stefanski is making business decisions as a coach. I think the decision to kick the field goal when down 13-20 and on the 3-yard line, get a false start, kicked you back to the 8. I get it. You're down 7 with like 2-something minutes left, 1 timeout. I think he made a business decision to take the loss, as crazy as that is, or at least take the points, because then, it's not the worst thing. If we get a stop, we have a chance, but who cares? If Watson get him out of town as quick as possible, because Stefanski's going to stick around. He's got the coaching resume in Cleveland. They cannot fire him, or if they do, that's a mistake, and someone will take him quickly. I think he's stuck with Watson from the people above, and he's going to say, all right, I'm just going to go out there and coach pretty basic. And Cincinnati figuring things out in stride. I think Cleveland just the rest of the year. Talk about a team that hasn't even scored 18 or 20 yet at all this season. That's Cleveland, only team in the league. Give me Cincinnati to put up points. Cleveland just not be able to keep up. Minus 6.5, easy for Cincinnati.
Yeah, and I just had to look because, Browns 16 against the Eagles, 13 against the Commanders. That's horrible because the Commanders' defense is not good. 13 is awful. Only 16 against the Raiders, 15 against the Giants, 18 in their only win against the Jags, and then 17 against the Cowboys. Yeah, it's the worst in football. Yeah. I think they've given up the most points. And that Browns offense is terrible. I don't want to say too much bad stuff because I am hopeful to have Kevin Stefanski on here as a guest at some point because we do have a connection.
That'd be wicked.
So I don't want to be too rude.
He's great.
Yeah, he's fantastic. He was dealt a hand by Jimmy Haslam. Hey, you got to play his quarterback. You have to play him. And he's bad. Deshaun Watson's toast. He's no good. Cincinnati's getting it going. Cincinnati's slow start. I think they're starting to roll a little bit. I like Cincy in this game, minus 6.5. I'm going to take them. It's going to be us, me, you, Bobby, us three and Bobby, and then whatever Sage picks, all on Cincy. Sage hates Cleveland. He's going to take Cincinnati. It's going to be a clean sweep. I love the 6.5. I love that hook. Love me that hook. Cost me my mortal lock when I took the Jets. Yeah, 28-13. I totally could see that happening. Cincy's offense is not a problem.
No.
Joe Burrow, except this week against the Giants. But like you said, I think the Giants caused some problems. Like, I picked them to win because of the interior defensive line and just the defensive line of the Giants. I mean, Burrow didn't throw for a touchdown. He had to rush for one. He looked fast. He looked fast on that touchdown run.
Athletic.
Yeah, sneaky athletic. High IQ, sneaky athletic. But give me Cincy minus 6.5 here. Next up, we got a good one. Houston at Green Bay. The current line, Green Bay minus 2.5 at home. I have been riding for Green Bay a little bit this year, and I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to take them minus 2.5 again. Absolutely love the hook of the 2.5 points. Cannot say that enough. I think I could absolutely see them winning this game like 27-24, 31-28, something along those lines. And hence that leads me toward Green Bay. They looked very good against Arizona. Houston has played a couple of okay teams, and it hasn't gone super well for them. I'm trying to think back to what they've done and who they've played that was any good.
They beat the Bears, but it was week 2.
Week 2, and Williams was still figuring it out. I mean, they beat the Patriots. They did beat the Bills. That's a solid win. But then they got
Second half questions in that game.
they tried to blow that game. I mean, they had to hit a 59-yard field goal to win it. The only good team they've played was the Vikings, and the Vikings beat them 34-7. Green Bay has also played the Vikings, and it was a lot closer than that. I'm going to take Green Bay at home, -2.5 in this spot. Green Bay outdoors. Houston's a dome team. I think that plays a factor. Yeah, give me Green Bay.
I'll say this is a test for both teams because Green Bay's victories on the other side aren't really that good. The Colts, and that's an impressive win because there was no love, but still, Titans, Rams, Cardinals. So 4 questionable teams there.
Both of these teams have very questionable resumes.
This is they're gonna bang out right here in Lambeau, AO. But I'm taking Green Bay -2.5 as well. I hate it, but Jordan Love's going to have some weird back foot, beautiful touchdown this week again. He had one last week. The guy's a dick. I just believe in Green Bay's coaching staff just a little more. D'Amico Ryans, great head coach. Love what he's done in Houston so far. But Matt LaFleur, man, top 3 coach in my opinion in the league, really. He gets the praise from me, as sad as that is as a Bears fan saying that. But Green Bay -2.5. I like what Jordan Love is doing. Even if guys go down, it doesn't matter. He's got connections with every single piece on that offense. Give me Green Bay -2.5.
Yeah. Colin, I will say Bobby's on Houston for this one. So, Colin, thoughts?
Connection with everybody on that offense except for Dontavian Wicks.
Yeah.
Keenan, if him and Rome had a touchdown last week, that's $2,900 to your boy's bank account. Rome gets held up the seam. Dontavian Wicks just gets thrown to the left bench.
Damn.
Have a good day over there, sir. All jokes aside, though, got to do my weekly glaze of Matt LaFleur. Can't talk about him enough.
Yep.
Fantastic coach. However,
Great coach.
the one thing this Houston's defense can do is those edges do like to get home.
Oh, Will Anderson's a stud.
Only difference here is you're not playing the New England Patriot tackles this week. You're going to Green Bay and you're playing Midwest football.
Yeah. In
Green Bay, in the cold, although it was cold and windy in New England last week, so that's not going to be much different in Green Bay this week. But give me those Green Bay Packers at home. Love the number 2.5.
Same. Can't get over that
And
number.
we'll see.
Yeah. Yep, I like it. Next up, we've got our game that we will be in attendance for. Stay tuned to the Playbook Sports TikTok account as we will have TikToks coming to you guys live from Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis as we go watch the Miami Dolphins take on the Indianapolis Colts. Last game we'll have to watch as Dolphins fans without Tua, thank God. I do like that Miami's had a couple weeks to prepare for Indy. What does Indy struggle with? Running games. Miami against the Patriots. Yes, it's the Patriots, so let's slow down. However, the power running game was working. Jalen Wright looked great. Looked like Jay Ajayi from 2016. Got me all excited. Raheem Mostert just runs powerful. I love Devon Achane and his speed. He's too gimmicky sometimes. He's too east and west. Upfield, buddy. Hit it. He's just a little bit too unaggressive for me. But I am taking the Colts in this spot, minus the 3 points. Anthony Richardson slated to be the starter, assuming there's no setback. He's going to run wild. He's going to run wild. We have, for years now, the Dolphins have struggled against running quarterbacks. Now, I don't want, if it was Flacco, I would pick the Colts too, for what it's worth, because Flacco's always had the Dolphins number. It seems like we're kind of screwed one way or the other here, no matter what. It's our last game without Tua, but I'm going to take the Colts -3. Bobby is obviously taking the Dolphins +3. Addison.
I am on the Colts -3 here. I think this is a game Anthony Richardson comes back in and has an insane game to get everybody back on the train of that he is the future quarterback. I think Joe Flacco did his job as a backup, and he did what he was brought to Indy to do. If Richardson goes down, you're going to be able to come in and operate this offense successfully. He's 1-1 as a starter, Flacco. He did finish the game against the Steelers, and they were able to get the victory. But he did lose to a bad Jacksonville team as a starting quarterback. So I think Indy's excited to get Richardson back, see what they can get with him. I want to see Richardson hit some intermediate throws because the offense had been clicking there. Josh Downs needs to have a big game because the connection with Flacco is real, and Downs is a weapon and needs to transfer over to Richardson. But his legs, Nate, you brought it up. If they can get Jonathan Taylor back this week, I'm actually not sure if they will, but I'm assuming so. Coming off of an ankle sprain, he misses 1 week, will come back, but who knows? Give me the Colts -3 at home. I think Miami is just missing Tua. Offense, it can be there. It's just not enough. I think Indy 3-3. At the end of the day, you take this if you knew Rich was going to be banged up, miss a couple games, and after an 0-2 start, 3-3 for the Colts. They're right here. Give me the Indianapolis -3 at home.
Yeah, I will say on Anthony Richardson again. I think, like I've said, all the physical traits in the entire world, but man, his stats this year are rough. 50% completion percentage through 4 games, 654 yards, averaging 163 yards a game, 3 touchdowns, 6 picks. If he makes the mistake against Miami, Miami will capitalize and will win this game. But he has to make that mistake. Will he make that mistake? To be determined. Colin, thoughts on this game?
Excited to be in attendance
be a
for
good
sure.
time.
It's
Yeah,
going to be
like
an
a good
awesome
time.
time in the Loud House.
VIP tailgate before the game.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get videos of players coming in. We're right where they pull in.
Get nice liquored up. before
Oh,
going in.
yeah.
Yeah.
And get rowdy.
Looking at this game, Miami coming off the bye.
Mhm.
Colts coming home to play here. I do like the Colts at home here. Just naturally, I always like them at home for whatever reason. I
Yeah.
feel like they play much, much better, as most teams probably do,
Yep,
unless
that's
you're
fair.
Dallas.
Oh,
You just can't play at home apparently anymore.
it's crazy.
So give me
16-0.
Indy minus the 3 here at home. I'll be short and sweet.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, Cowboys 3-0 at home, or 16-0 at home in their last 16, and then a historical performance in their last 4 games. But enough about them. They're on a bye this week.
Well, the good news is, so I told myself I wasn't going to rant, but here's where the small rant comes in. At least if they do somehow make the playoffs, which they
Yes,
won't.
they
but
can.
If they do, you're going to be playing on the road anyways.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
So
That's
you
what you're
might
hoping
as well
for.
suck at home
Yeah.
because you're not going to play at home anyways.
Now, I was listening to someone say that earlier today, talking about Dallas. Like, you hope to be on the road if you're Dallas at this point, because right now you've lost the mystique of playing at home. You'd much rather go to Minnesota and play in their dome, or Detroit maybe, play in their dome.
Dallas's offensive line could not handle a Brian Flores.
Oh yeah, that could be.
all 4 NFC North teams to
That I think is very much alive.
That's no Cowboys.
I don't even think that'd be an outrageous take.
Yeah.
I don't even think it'd be an outrageous take.
right now, but we'll see what it is after
Yeah.
week 9.
Right, we got
every single team is
I mean,
5.
right now, the preseason of Jets missing the playoffs.
Yep.
Cowboys missing the playoffs.
Yep.
Packers missing. That's a scary one.
Packers scary one because they're looking
They
good.
went 2-0
Yeah.
without love.
Yeah.
Right.
We all predicted.
Right. Jeez.
They could be 2-4 as well.
Yeah.
That could be very ill.
Yeah, could be.
Packers are in 4th place, right? At 4-2.
Well,
So technically the Bears are.
the common opponent.
Yeah, the common opponent. Jeez. Yep.
Gotcha.
But it's all. I mean, 4-2. 4-2.
Jim Madison misinformation.
So
Yeah.
people are saying because of the division, but playoff
ESPN has the Packers in third.
playoff indicators show Bears as the 7th seed if we were to start today, and because of common opponent. I guess that's like the 3rd or 4th tiebreaker because it goes record, head to head,
to head.
and then the common division conference.
Yeah.
It gets down to craziness. Yeah.
Yeah. None of this. It's gonna look very different about, like you said, like 8
Yeah,
weeks
no,
when
seriously.
all these teams have played each other. Speaking of teams from this division playing each other, Detroit at Minnesota. Lines Minnesota
Nice
minus
segue.
2.5. Thank you. It's gonna be. This is a fantastic football game. This is probably the one other noon game I'm gonna have my eye on my phone, like checking like what's happening in this game. Like I might pull it up so I can check it out a little bit. Yeah, I might put it on YouTube TV while I'm there. It's gonna be an electric football game. Lines Minnesota minus 2.5 as the home favorite. I gotta be honest. I like Detroit. I like Detroit outright in this football game. Mainly, I'm hoping they go get an edge rusher because that could be huge. I mean, if you let Sam Darnold sit back there and pick you apart, you're gonna have some rough times. Darnold didn't look super great against the Jets in London. Is some of that wearing off a little bit, and they can get God on offense. They have 29 to the Packers. That's the only time they've had anybody score points against them, to be fair. But man, the Lions just look dominant right now. And I said it when we did our division predictions. I was like, I could really eat some crow when Detroit looks awesome, and I picked them to finish 3rd in the division, which they still could because this division is that damn good. But Lions have scored 89 points in their last 2 games. 89 points against the Seahawks and the Cowboys. I mean, they look like they're unstoppable at this moment in time. And you're going to give me 2.5 points?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'll take Detroit plus 2.5 in this spot. And just bet on Jared Goff over Sam Darnold.
That is precisely why I am going to take Minnesota in this game, is because they do look so damn unstoppable, and they're still. I mean, I get it on the road in division, so normally you get 3 with the home team.
pick them essentially. We're calling it.
But still, give me Minnesota off the bye, and it could be
Off the bye is big.
off the bye. Detroit just played their Super Bowl. Congratulations.
Could be in for a letdown.
Could be in for a slight letdown. Public's probably just raging hard for Detroit this week, and they're
And I'm the
getting all
public,
let down.
baby.
So give me Minnesota at home.
I'm the
It's
sucker.
2.5, right?
Yeah, 2.5.
Love it.
Just 3 points, all you need. Yeah, I know. It makes me nervous. The
Maybe
3,
they might
man.
play defense and give them some resistance.
Yeah, this is a tough one. This is an extremely tough one. Minnesota's my number 1 in the power rankings, but the way Detroit is, they're number 3 in my power
Look around,
rankings.
this game is number 1 next.
Yeah, probably.
Jeez.
Never mind.
They play.
Because they play San Fran.
They play.
And San Fran.
Yeah.
But they easily could be. This is a tough one. Detroit losing Hutchinson. I don't know if they were able to get a pass rusher in time to make an impact that deal would have to be done today or tomorrow to really get him ready. I understand just rush the quarterback isn't something you need, but to be able to have everything stunts where it's not just you're rushing on one lane all game. If a trade happened, though, a player would play. The way Detroit, man, I'm taking Detroit plus the points. It pains me to pick against my number one team, but Minnesota, here's a gigantic test. They've had maybe one or two, but Jordan Love coming off an injury, and then the Texans, are they real or not? They dominated them, but give me Detroit plus a 2.5, a division game between two big-time teams right now. It's going to be close. It'll be a knockout brawl. I'll take the plus points. It could come down to 1 or 2 points, seriously, both ways. I could see either team winning. I'll take Detroit, seriously, plus the points, just because they've got plus points. That's literally why. Yeah.
It's just because you get a couple of points there to protect you from it. Like, it could be a 1-point game very easily either way. Like, if we come back next week and we're like, Minnesota won this game by 7, I won't be shocked. Yeah. If we come back and we're like, Detroit won this game by 10, I won't be shocked. Both of these teams are excellent. Which way is the ball going to bounce? Like, there's going to be one play in this game that ultimately is going to decide this game. Well, who's going to get the ball to bounce their way? We will find out. Next up, we got an NFC East matchup. Philadelphia Eagles, after letting down the public last week in one of the biggest bet games, I'm sure, was Philadelphia minus the 8.5 points, going to the Giants, who maybe are a little friskier than we're giving them credit for. Maybe. Addison, you've been a little higher on the G-Men for a bit. So is Colin, truthfully. But what are your thoughts on this game?
I'll say Colin was on that trade even when they were bad. But I'm on the Giants train now. And I'm going to take them plus the 3 here against my Philly Eagles. I just don't like what Philly's got going on. Sirianni chirping with his own fans because they were booing him. And it's like, yeah, I'm sorry that you are going to get booed if you're playing the worst team in football and things are close and you allow a blocked field goal to impact the game that much and give the Browns life. I'm going to take the Giants, and I hope Neighbors is back. This, like we said, we record on Tuesday, but I'm assuming he's probably closer to back than not. So I'm going to take the G-Men and Danny Dimes. I mean, I think the offense can move the football, and if they can score some points, I think Philly might struggle a little bit with the G-Men's defense. And I just don't have extreme confidence right now, and Philly minus 3 on the road, I'm not buying in. So give me the G-Men plus 3 at home. I think they're going to win outright, straight up.
You look at what Eagles have done this year. They match the level of their opponent, and that doesn't always bode well. Like, first game against the Packers, they won. Great game. Next game against the Falcons, they lose at home to Atlanta. And then against the Saints, they win 15-12 against the Saints. They get slapped by the Bucs, and then they beat the Browns by 4 points in a game that they should have blown them out in. They should have beaten the hell out of the Browns, and they didn't.
And seriously, a bad coaching decision took away an opportunity to tie the game, in my opinion, in Cleveland. So it could have been tied at 20.
Yep. And Cleveland is contending for worst team in the NFL. I mean, they are super mega ass, honestly. They are so bad.
They are.
So bad. And they nearly went into Philly and stole it. And like you said, you got Sirianni yelling at fans. I think the Giants just win this game outright. I agree with you. Like, this would be a money line. I would like the Giants in this spot, which seems crazy because I love Philadelphia coming into this year, but the vibes are so wrong in that building right now.
This is a loss that could get Sirianni fired.
This could be his job.
The next bad loss in his job. Right?
Yeah, I agree. He's shaved his head. Yeah. That's a sign of a man in distress.
Oh, yeah.
That's what that is. That is a man who is hurting. Yeah, I got to do something. I'm going to shave my head. Okay, Nick. I mean, he's just one of those coaches where it's like, what do you bring to the table, man? I don't know what you do. You don't design the offense. You don't design the defense. What do you do? What good are you? You're just the head cheerleader. And that only works when you're winning. You can only slow nod at the camera when your team is playing well. Yeah. Your team's not playing well, Nick. You got to fix something. And I don't think he will. I'm going to take the Giants plus 3 here. Colin. Bobby's on the Eagles in this one.
The only other thing that would make me happier than like Deshaun Watson getting like concussed would be Nick Sirianni getting fired. I absolutely can't stand this guy. I've called him Prick Sirianni for years. I've been way ahead of the curve of him being completely useless, master motivator maybe.
Yeah.
But he's just a big kid.
Yep.
He's a big kid that's never got to play the sport as an athlete, and now he's trying to live through it as a coach. And it doesn't always bode well. You can't yell at your home fans, and you can't bring your kids to the post game to try and shield yourself.
Yeah, try and protect yourself.
I hate to agree with you guys because the Giants did let us down pretty bad.
They did hurt us last week.
Because that late touchdown by the Bengals.
Chase Brown, just go down.
Chase Brown just goes down. Yeah, just go down. Because if we were on the Bengals, he would have gone down.
He would have 100% would have gone down.
Do I overreact, though? Because this is a game where usually the Eagles do struggle in New York against the Giants versus at home against the Giants. Jalen Hurts does like to hold on to that ball a little long. That Giants D-line's a little feisty.
Mm-hmm. This line's telling me that they think the Eagles are 9 points better than the Giants. I don't see it.
The Eagles do it all in the G, man.
They do. Boston Scott touchdown this week?
Guaranteed. Is he even on the Eagles anymore? Genuine question. Is he even on the Eagles anymore? I doubt it, right? There's no way.
He's going to suit up.
Kenneth Gainwell's there.
Give me Philly on the road. I'll still buy in. This is a team I said at the beginning of the year was going to be
Super Bowl contenders.
They're going to be my NFC number 1 seed.
Yeah.
East winners.
I was all about it.
I was all over Philly this year, and they've done nothing but disappoint me to this point, but I think they get back on track this week. I mean, they have to.
He is not currently on the roster, but the week is young.
Yeah.
Boston Scott. Right?
Yeah,
Boston Scott.
going to get a little limpy.
Yeah, a little banged up. Mm-hmm.
Called Boston and said, hey, we need a
fourth
quarter touchdown.
Touchdown against the Giants. Yep, to cover. Eagle his
Philly
score
on the
for
road.
sure. Okay, I like that even split there. Next up, we are getting into the 3 o'clock slate. There's only 3 games in the 3 o'clock slate this week. We've got Vegas traveling to LA to take on the Rams. The line is Rams -7. Ugh. They are. Is he expected to play? Okay, that's all I needed to hear. I'm going to take the Rams minus the 7 points here. Vegas is in the midst of blowing it up. And we already had Antonio Pierce talking about players making business decisions. That's not done. Like, those players aren't playing for anybody. They're bad. They're just a bad football team. They don't know what to do at quarterback. They're a team that they've got to just go embrace the tank, blow it up, and just lose out because you don't have a future. There's nobody on the roster that you can look at and say, that guy is a cornerstone player for our franchise for the next 10 to 15 years. Who's that guy? I don't know. Max Crosby's getting up there in age, and you should probably deal him for a first while you still can. Devontae Adams out the door. Brock Bowers, there's your cornerstone guy. That's their only future as a tight end that can play slot receiver. I don't love that for them. Rams, like you said, getting healthier. Need it. Rams have their season's on the line. They lose this game and they fall to 1-5. It's over. Forget about it. Season's done. Need this game and gotta have it game. Give me Sean McVay over Antonio Pierce every day of the week. Addison.
Yeah, I'm also on the Rams -7 here. Sure, it might push, but I think they could win this by double digits. We basically said it. Las Vegas is in the midst of the collapse, and LA got to figure it out. And the coaching matchup is huge. McVay will have these Rams playing well out of a bye as well for these Rams. Yeah. So give me the Rams -7. Like I said, Cooper Kupp getting out to give me a touchdown for Cooper Kupp as well.
Bobby's on the Rams with us. Colin, what are your thoughts here?
Like the words you guys said, you can't get blown out at home against Pittsburgh. I mean, Pittsburgh can't blow anybody out, and then they come into your place and just smack you around on an even week of all things, too. That's the only reason I picked the Raiders, because they're an every other week kind of team. And I just think right now they're a bad team. They're selling, as you mentioned. So give me those Rams off the bye at home. I think McVay coaching, you guys have already said everything that needs to be said. Rams -7.
Yeah, and you just look at the Raiders' rush defense, especially with Christian Wilkins being out now too. I mean, Najee Harris, 14 carries, 106 yards and a tud. Fields didn't even have to do anything. They put up 32 points without a passing touchdown. What are we doing? What are we doing? It's very, very clear. Next up, Carolina at Washington. Current line, Washington -7.5. Colin, I'm going to slide it back to you for this one to start us off. What are your thoughts on this football game?
Washington actually looked a lot better than I thought they were going to in Baltimore. They hung around late, made it a game.
Had a chance to cover. They took the field goal instead of going for it.
Instead of going for the touchdowns, right? They took the 3.
Shout out.
God bless you.
God bless you. That's right. So Washington, definitely walking away from that game. I've been very skeptical on their strength of opponents to this point. Still they've lost the 2 good teams they've played. So what does that say? However, I do like the way they looked in that game versus the way they looked week 1 against Tampa.
Yeah, 100%.
You could definitely see they're building something there. Carolina, the exact flip side. So give me Washington -7. 7.5 is a lot. I wish it was 6.5, not 7.5, but I would still take the 7.5 with Washington.
Yeah, against teams with 1 win this year, this is a stat that means literally nothing, but I'm going to say it anyways. Against teams with 1 win this year, they've outscored them, 76-17, or 27. I mean, just absolutely beat the piss out of the bad teams. And Carolina's the worst team. They are the bad team this year. Yep. They can't do anything right. They don't do anything well at all. Washington -7.5 points. I don't love how many points that is, I guess. I don't like the hook of 7.5. But if they can't win this game by 10, then they're complete pretenders. Yeah. If you cannot beat the Panthers in Washington by 10 points, you're pretenders. I can't believe in you anymore, and I will have to drop you out of my power rankings, even with a win. Because this is a game you need to, again, just absolutely spank them. Yeah. This needs to be a belt-to-ass type of game for Washington. You just went toe-to-toe with the Ravens. You looked good. Jane Daniels, the moment was not too big for him. Do not have a letdown game here because you're looking ahead to the Bears next week. Yep. You cannot have a letdown game. So, Washington -7.5.
The D tackle in Washington, Payne. De'Aaron Payne? Deron Payne, excuse me, my bad. Torn pec, out for the season. So that's a big loss for Washington's interior defensive line. Yeah, no. He might have been the only bright spot, though.
Just the only spot left.
Yeah, honestly. But I am on Washington minus the 7.5. Bryce Young, why is he not playing?
Right.
Why is he not playing? We're running out of time, Canales, because Andy Dalton's not getting the opportunity. He gives us the best chance to win. No, he does not. Sure, Bryce Young, you might not win a football game. You're not winning shit with Andy Dalton. Mark Sanchez's soundbite was hilarious when it was 38-20 or whatever it was. They were, 38-20 because he fell before the end zone.
Yep.
You want Bryce Young sitting behind a true professional. Because Andy Dalton throws a pick six that he falls down at the 1 yard line so that they can run the clock out. I mean, it was a terrible Stevie on an out route. And Mark Sanchez is slurping on his dong saying he's a professional, which I know Andy Dalton is. But there's no point in playing Andy Dalton because he's not the future. You need to find out if Bryce Young is. You think he's not, make sure he's not because you're going to lose anyway. And they're going to get beat down by Washington. Washington's going to score 35 plus. Carolina will score 13 to 17 points. It will be a beatdown. Washington minus 7.5.
Yeah, there's one team in the NFL that's given up 200 points already against Carolina Panthers. They've already given up 200 points this year, and that's just going to continue to get worse. And the Commanders score points at an unbelievable level, especially for their young team. I mean, 176 points is second in the NFC behind Tampa Bay, who scored 178. I mean, that's impressive. Like, it's one of the better offenses versus the literal worst defense in the NFL. This should be an ass kicking. And like you said, like, what's the point of playing Dalton at this point in the season? What are you trying to learn here? Because no quarterback, there's not a Caleb Williams in this draft class. There's not. There's no point, like, you can't say it's okay if Bryce Young's not the guy because we have a surefire guy coming out of college next year. No, you don't. You can gamble on Shedeur Sanders if he even wants to play for you. Carson Beck hasn't looked any good. Jalen Milroe out of Alabama. Like, what are you tanking for? You need to find out right now, is Bryce the guy?
Dalton's only win was against the terrible Raiders in his first start where
he got the bump.
Because that's it. Of course, everybody gets the bump.
Yes.
If they lose this game, bad. I'm sorry, Bryce Young needs to be playing. And just take your L's with Bryce.
Yep. Lose with him. Let him grow. See if he can grow. Yep, you're not playing for anything at this point. Next up, we've got the game that should be on Sunday Night Football, but we can't flex games yet, unfortunately. Kansas City at San Francisco. Line San Fran minus 1.5. Colin, who are you on in this football game?
Which, first off, is ridiculous. That first, you can't flex games in and out. But also, schedule makers.
It's not Sunday night.
How did we not see Kansas City, San Fran, and be like, you know what, Jets and Steelers?
Jets and Steelers, baby. Even though the Jets just played on Monday night, let's do Jets and Steelers on prime time.
But talking about this game, I'm torn because San Fran. Just what are we getting week to week with San Francisco? Not super consistent. Kansas City on the flip side is the most consistent thing you've ever seen. They just win. Is this where the hammer meets the nail and Kansas City finally gets their first L? I'm going to take San Fran in this game, and I don't feel great about it. Especially with Mason going out last week. How hurt is he? Is he's going to be back? Although he hasn't been that great the last couple of weeks with him.
Isaac Guerrero looked really good.
He did.
99.
He should have punched that one. I think he got tackled versus. I think he was like half.
He was going down. He was going down.
But give me
all the sideline was yelling at him to go down, so I think he was going to go down.
No, you punched that in.
Hell yeah, it's his first touchdown.
We're punching it anyway.
Well, that and to Kittle. Shout out my fantasy team. Because it was still like even a field goal, I think makes it. Still a one-score game. It was huge check. That's right. Kittle was before that.
It was a huge check.
But give me San Fran at home here. I do like them in this game.
Okay. Ash, I'm swinging over to you. What are your thoughts here?
I am on Kansas City plus the points. I will take the undefeated team, Patrick Mahomes, against a team he owns in the San Francisco 49ers. I think this will be a close game, but the question marks from San Francisco I still have on defense. You were able to contain Seattle, a division opponent who you do own. That is impressive. Now let's see you do it against Kansas City. Watch out when Pacheco comes back because Kareem Hunt's still got it. And he's still got it. You can pound him 15, 20 times a game, and he is somewhat of a threat in the passing game. Juju Smith-Schuster, he'll just step in for Rashee Rice and go crazy. And that's exactly what he did. And that's why they brought him back, because he had some connection with Mahomes, and hey, it was the right decision, because if he can be somewhat of a weapon, doesn't have to be that every week, but if it can be somewhat of a weapon, Kansas City might not lose that many steps with losing Rice. I'm going to take the better team plus the points. I don't care that it's on the road. It might be ugly. The Chiefs might be down 10 at one point. I think they cover and win this football game.
Yeah, Addison, we may only have one difference this week so far.
I don't like that.
I like it a lot. Come on, it means we're both going to do great. Because how do you not pick the Chiefs here? I don't know. I gotta pick the Chiefs. I mean, you can justify it because the Niners are literally the favorites in this football game. But the Chiefs, if they don't lose this game, if the Chiefs win this football game, they're officially, if they're not already, on undefeated season watch.
Yeah.
Because after this, who do they lose to? Their next chance to really, like, where you're like, oh, they might lose this game, is in Buffalo. That's it. Otherwise, they have their whole division still to play. They host the Texans. They don't play anyone else who's like, oh, that's a good team, except for the Bucs in Kansas City. They are on undefeated watch if they win this game in San Francisco. San Francisco is just like you said, it's a week-to-week thing for them. They're very hit or miss, it seems like, and the Chiefs really do kind of own them. They kind of do. The Niners against decent teams this year, Vikings loss. Rams loss. And that's a bad loss against the Rams. And then Cardinals in San Francisco walked in and beat them. Their only wins are against the Seahawks, frauds, Jets, ass, and who else they beat? Patriots, ass. I mean, they beat up 3 bad teams and they've lost to 3 okay teams. It's so hard for me to pick against the Chiefs at any point in the season, especially a Kansas City team coming off of a bye. Andy Reid's record off a bye is unheard of good. Yeah. Unbelievably good coming off of a bye.
I think he might be undefeated off the bye, but it's off technically the Super Bowl loss puts a wrinkle in that because it was a 2-week thing, he got a bye or whatever. But it's if it is not undefeated, it's 1 or 2 losses and 25 wins.
Yes, genuinely, it's unheard of. And he's got a little extra time. San Francisco's weather is going to be beautiful. They are going to be just fine. And I want to know why they weren't on the phone with Cleveland to get Amari Cooper. Why not bring him into that offense when you just lost Rashee Rice for the year probably, and Hollywood Brown's not going to play, and all you have is a rookie and Xavier Worthy and Kelce.
Teams are willing to take conditionals.
Right. So you're telling me you can't offer a 3rd-round pick for Amari Cooper? What are you going to use it for?
Things don't go well,
Right. You just let him go at the end of the year, whatever. Yeah, I don't know why you let that happen. Beyond me. I knew they weren't going to get Devontae Adams. No way the Raiders were going to do that. But Amari Cooper was right there for the taking.
Oh yeah.
Come on. But Kansas City, I love them getting a 1.5 here. My number 2 team in the power rankings. San Francisco wins this one. Watch out. They might be back. But I like the Chiefs here. Sunday Night Football. We've got the New York Jets, 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 going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Jets -1.5 on the road here. And I've been yapping for too long, so I'm going to hand it to Addison to tell us about his New York Jets.
Yes. JTS, Jets. I'm all on the Jets here. Give me Devontae Adams to score a touchdown in this game. Getting traded on a Tuesday. It will happen. Book it. And also, Pittsburgh. Russell Wilson taking first team's reps in practice this week. They're going to insert him in over Justin Fields. I personally don't hate it. I could see why. I think Fields has played well enough to keep the job. They're 4-2, but I think you brought Russ here for a reason. He was supposed to be the starter. Things just got a little backwards. And I don't know. I mean, Tomlin, that clearly shows that he thinks Russ could be the guy. Who knows? We'll see who starts. I don't think it matters, though. Give me the Jets -1.5. I believe in the defense to shut down either quarterback. The passing game is not a threat in Pittsburgh. And if you can shut down the run, I think you have a chance. And if they can score points on offense, Aaron Rodgers, the Buffalo Bills game last week, he put them in positions to score points. And the kicker, due to the wind, missed 2 kicks. They could have had the lead, could have won the football game, coulda, woulda, shoulda. They're going to win this, though, -1.5. Give me those Jets to cover. And again, Devontae Adams to score a touchdown. Just getting traded.
That would not shock me at all. I will say the only thing that you mentioned in there was the only if I heard was if the Jets can stop the run. That's a question mark. Can they stop the run? They've given up 745 yards on the ground this year. They are getting run all over, and that's all Pittsburgh can do. So it's going to be, can the road paving Pittsburgh Steelers move the Jets out of the way and just control the ball? That's what it comes down to, is can they control the ball? And we've agreed on too many games. I can't do it again. I am going to take the Steelers +1.5, although I have some serious questions about Tomlin going to Russell Wilson. No, Justin Fields is not lighting the world on fire. Russell Wilson is not going to light anybody on fire either. He sucks. He's done.
I will say, I don't think it's confirmed starter.
But he's in consideration. They said in consideration for it.
First team reps this week from Fields.
Yeah, Fields is averaging about 200 passing yards a game. He's got 5 passing touchdowns, 5 rushing touchdowns, and only 1 turnover. I mean, 10 touchdowns to 1 turnover. How are you going to bench that right now when you're 4-2? How are you going to bench that? I don't understand why Tomlin would do that. That is insane to me. Because
if that doesn't go well,
then you're in trouble. If you make a quarterback switch from a quarterback who's 4-2, you better be going right back to him. And then it's like, why do we even switch? What were you thinking? I don't want to question Tomlin because all he does is go above 500 and is just always there. But, man, that would be a head-scratching move. I'm going to take the Steelers +1.5 points because fuck the Jets for losing my mortal lock this past week.
Jets are dicks. Could have gone 2-1 on locks as well. Jets money line right there for the taking.
Should have had it.
I mean,
Shoulda had it.
professional kicker in the wind or not the wind. You got to
Limp
make
leg
your
Greg.
kicks. Yeah, limp leg Greg.
Limp leg Greg.
32-yarder off the fucking uprights.
He's practicing like Parky.
Yeah, I know. I literally said
Practice hitting the uprights.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make any sense.
So stupid.
In my opinion, at least.
middle of the
One side, you got the epitome of consistency and stability, and on the other side, you have the most unstable franchise maybe in professional sports.
So true.
Does another wide receiver make the offensive line block? Does it make your special teams actually good? And does it make your defense stop the run? I don't know. Maybe it makes your quarterback happy, I guess.
Yeah, that's it. Makes
Give me Pittsburgh at home plus 1.5. I just can't trust the Jets until further notice.
Agreed. Aaron Rodgers, 28 straight games, less than 300 yards passing.
He was on pace, too.
He was. And then they had last possession. I was like, oh, he's going to get it. He's going to get it. And then a flag and then a pick. That throw, even if he runs the right route, that ball's underthrown pretty badly. And that offensive line struggles. Pittsburgh, TJ Watt, look for TJ Watt to just go absolutely to town. He'll have a day. That's gonna be a close one where this is, season for the Jets on the line right now. You just went out and got, you already used as a government of a country, right? Dumb analogy, but roll with me. As if you go nuclear option, what else do you have after that? If you've gone nuclear and it didn't work, the Jets had to win this game against Buffalo. This was for first place in the division. You just fired your head coach. That's the nuclear option on your season. We have to blow this up and try this to save our season. You get the Bills at home. A team that is missing ton of defensive starters, has no weapons on offense at all. They're missing their best running back. They're missing their running back. And you lost. And you lost at home to that team. You can't have that happen. And Devontae Adams is going to sell some jerseys, and that's what he's going to do. Yeah. I do think Devontae Adams is still a stud, and I think in the long term this helps. But they got to get back on the same page. Devontae Adams is dealing with a hamstring injury. Now, is that going to magically heal? It will probably magically heal because he's with Rodgers again. But he's got to pick up that playbook. We'll see. I don't trust Todd Downing as a play caller either. He was a terrible play caller in Tennessee. We'll see. We'll see what happens. It's a close line for a reason. I just wish they flexed this one and put Kansas City, San Francisco here badly. Monday night, we got a doubleheader. We've got Baltimore Ravens traveling to Tampa Bay to take on the Bucks. And that one will start at 6:15, I think it is. 7:15. Minus 3.5 Baltimore. Colin, thoughts on this game?
3.5 scares me. If there's anybody I glaze on the show more than Matt LaFleur, it's Baker Mayfield. I do love me some Baker Mayfield.
True.
But it's Baltimore against the NFC opponents. What do they do again? 21-1 coming into last week. They take care of business. 22-1 now for Lamar. But just because they win doesn't mean they cover necessarily. I still have the dumbass pick of the week just looming in my back pocket, which has been very cold as of late today. But very cold. But give me Tampa plus 3.5 at home. Didn't like Mike Evans be on the sideline as much as he was this past weekend. He needs to be in there and
he was
really.
In the doghouse, it looked like.
He was in the doghouse. He's got to be in there impacting the game. Chris Godwin's an absolute freak show. Back to what he was before that ACL. But give me Tampa to cover the 3.5. I think Baltimore still wins. But give me Tampa plus a 3.5.
Okay.
I'm taking a lot of home teams this week.
I'm gonna have to take Baltimore here, minus 3.5 points. It's just. They should win this game by 10. They just absolutely dominate the ball on the ground. They have the best running attack, a historic running attack in Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry to score 2 touchdowns in a game is going to be even money. Yeah. That's going to be plus 100 if you're lucky, if you get it at the right time. Because him to score a touchdown any time is going to be minus 500 before you know it. It's already minus 300 a game. He just scores. That's all they do is score. And then Zay Flowers just caught, 12 passes? Every time he threw the ball, it was hitting him in the chest. They just look awesome. The Ravens just look absolutely awesome. I do hate that it's 3.5, but it's Lamar against an NFC opponent, and he just beats them. And they're going to win this game by more than a field goal. Give me the Bucks. No, Ravens.
I am on the Bucks with you, Colin, plus a 3.5. Baltimore defense suspect. They played a high-powered offense last week, allowed 23. I think Tampa Bay, I know Washington statistically is a better offense. I think Tampa Bay is a better offense than Washington. If everybody's healthy and on the field, Baker slinging the rock, multiple picks last week. Don't care. A couple of them were batted. Give me the Bucks plus a 3.5 in a super high-scoring game, and it just comes down to who has ball last. And I think it's just close enough. I think Baltimore could win, but I think Tampa Bay covers the plus 3.5. I can see them winning outright, straight up. I know Lamar owns the NFC. Tampa Bay's offense is legit. They can put up points. Just did it last week. Let's see if they can do it again against a suspect defense. But I'm on the Bucks plus 3.5.
For sure, a suspect defense. Ravens got to figure out that defense quick. Because Lamar, running game is great. That travels and plays well in the playoffs. But if your defense is no good, you're screwed in the AFC. You're not going to go anywhere. And it's regular season Ravens. They're fantastic in regular season.
Versus Derrick Henry.
Yeah, meet them in the hole. That'll be interesting. Last game of the week, we've got the Los Angeles Chargers at the Arizona Cardinals. The line is Chargers -2.5. I'm going to go ahead and start us. I'm going to take the Chargers -2.5 here as the road favorite. Arizona's been kind of a letdown, man. They looked really bad against Green Bay. And the Chargers are just going to dominate possession. Just dominate time on the ball. They've got a much better rushing attack. Arizona's a fun team, man. But if Marvin Harrison's hurt, it's Michael Wilson and James Conner as your best weapons. And that's the scary thing. Chargers are just a well-run team right now. They're not going to throw the ball a ton. I mean, Justin Herbert has 800 passing yards through 5 games. But that doesn't matter because they're just going to run the ball. J.K. Dobbins nearly 500 yards through 5 games. That's crazy. They don't need to beat you through the air because they're just going to beat you on the ground and playing good defense. So give me the Chargers.
I'm also on the Chargers -2.5 with you, Nate. Arizona, man, they're going to be in games they shouldn't be at times this year because of the young offensive piece, especially with Marvin. But they're in a weird spot because Kyler's getting just a little bit older every year. You know, obviously everybody ages, but still, it's just like, man, they're in a weird spot. They're in a weird spot, but the Chargers are not. They're trying to compete. That's why they got Harbaugh. He's came in, clearly changed the culture around. He changed the team's identity in an offseason without really changing much of the roster. That is very impressive. Love Harbaugh. He's always my guy. I'm taking the Los Angeles Harbaughs -2.5. I think this is an easy cover. It could be a situation where time of possession gets away from Arizona. Chargers are up 2 scores. Arizona has to throw every possession, and the Chargers are able to shut that down. Give me the Chargers -2.5.
I like it. Colin.
I'm going to join you guys for that table clean sweep here. Just once again, I was high on Arizona to start the year, first few weeks, and then all of a sudden the last few, said it last week, that stock is slowly declining in my opinion. Looking at this past weekend, Green Bay, that's kind of the telltale sign for me, especially with Marvin Harrison Jr. potentially being banged up. Arizona's defense is who we thought they were. And I think the Chargers, second half last week, a little skeptical, kind of allowing Bo Nix to get him back in the game. But I do like the Chargers here on the road, especially that number 2.5. Always love that number.
Yes, yeah, you love getting the 2.5 here. All right, before we get into Colin's locks, which had a down week, we got Mortal Locks. Last week, 3-2 as a unit. Thank you, Jets. And Bobby had Denver, so those both lost. But Chicago with Addison and Sage. And then, Colin, who was your Mortal last week? I have it written somewhere. It's over there.
Lions.
Detroit, yeah, wow. Huge win. So, who's your Mortal this week? What do you got?
Oh, I'm still stewing. I'm going to go back to the NFC. I think the last 4 Mortals have all been NFC North teams, which kind of paid out. I'm going to go back to Wisconsin. I'm going to go to Green Bay, and I'm going to take those Packers minus the 2.5 at home against the Houston Texans this week. Houston road versus home, different team in my opinion. Green Bay and the NFC North is just as feisty as always. Love that number as well.
Okay, I like that. I am going to go ahead and ride with the Atlanta Falcons minus 3 points at home against Seattle. It's a crazy line to me. That's like, why is it only 3 points? I feel like that's pretty free. Now I'm probably jinxing the hell out of it by taking them as my mortal lock, but give me Atlanta. Addison.
Right on. I'm taking a decently sized spread this week. See if I'm in the North, but the opposite conference. Give me those Cincinnati Bengals minus 6.5 against the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland blowing it up. No belief in the season the rest of the way, in my opinion. They're in Cleveland. Cincinnati, though, on the other end, offense is trending up. And if that's the case, big point scored. Cincinnati minus 6.5 is my mortal lock.
Okay, and Addison, I'm going to have you hang on to
yes,
it.
Sir.
And we are going to jump right into your outrageous take for Week 6.
Right on.
7 of the NFL
yes.
season.
This is a little bit of a specific one because that's how outrageous it is. I don't know if the bare minimum is truly outrageous. But give me London game ended in an ugly-ass tie.
Oh.
We say send 2 teams over there to tie. Now let's make it really specific. A no-touchdown game tie. 9-9 going into OT. Both teams kick field goals in OT to make it a 12-12. Weirdest football game maybe in history, if that's the case. Ugly-ass game that we send to London. A 12-12 tie after it was 9-9 going into OT. Why not? Let it fly.
That is sickening.
Absolutely disgusting.
I love it.
Peterson's still getting fired if they tie.
100%.
Yeah, oh yeah.
He might get fired if they win.
Yeah, 100%.
Probably should not be allowed back in America.
Yeah, no.
Actually. And now on to the hottest. Well, okay, it's cooled down a little bit. It's still warm, but it's not as hot. Now we're sitting at 11-7 overall in Collins Locks. What do you got for us this week? Let's get some winners. Let's go 3-0.
Gotta get some winners. Gotta talk about last week really quickly first. Philly team total over 26.5 coming off the bye. They finished with 20. AJ Brown.
Yep.
That's the right receiver.
Mm-hmm.
If he breaks that tackle at the end of the game, maybe he waltzes in for a
touchdown.
touchdown.
You know he does.
And they get the extra point and they go over the team total. They don't. The other loser, Jets money line at home. We got to make some kicks, guys. We got to make some kicks. We got to score some touchdowns. Breece Hall gets tackled with a 1 or a 2.
All you have to do is make one dude miss, and he gets tackled.
Don't score a touchdown. Brutal. Moneyline parlay cashes as almost always. That thing is
money.
Just about as locked as it comes.
Yep, bingo.
So we're gonna change up a little bit. Keep the moneyline parlay. Keep one straight bet, and then we're gonna add a 6-point teaser this week. Just get a little bit frisky, maybe a little bit safer of a play, if you will. But let's get into it. First one. The game we're going to be at, you never want to bet the under a game you're going to because you want it to be exciting. You want it to be points. Kind of a hedge spot, but also kind of a smart under, in my opinion.
Very smart under.
Miami, Indianapolis this week. Snoop Huntley against Richardson coming back. Miami's defense has been pretty solid without Tua Tagovailoa on the other side. Coming off the bye as well. Lets them get rested, and they're going to show out, hopefully, in this game. Minus 115 odds there, under 44.5 for that total.
That's easy.
Give me a 24-20. 23-20, somewhere in that realm. Let's get into that 6-point teaser. Plus 140 odds. Like this a lot. You take Detroit from plus 2.5 up to plus 8.5. Do they get blown out by 9 or more points on the road in Minnesota?
No way.
I'm not sold on that, especially after this past weekend. You take the Bengals from minus 6.5 to minus 0.5. All they have to do is win on the road against Cleveland, who's kind of blowing it up.
Yep.
And then you take Washington at home from minus 7.5 down to minus 1.5. Do they beat Carolina by 2 at home? They should. So the scariest one on this, in my opinion, is Detroit.
Plus 9 points.
Plus 8.5.
Yeah.
Right. So I love that.
That's an
plus
unbelievable
140
teaser.
for that. I will be putting some decent change on that myself. And then the money line parlay to wash it down, as always. Only minus 110 this week, so not too much juice. We're going to make up for it in that 6-point teaser. Give me those Jacksonville Jags. It's ugly.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it, but give me them over the Patriots. I just think that rest of them being overseas for that full week
Huge.
versus the Patriots coming, as well as the Jags looked competent offensively last week. They just couldn't score. They just couldn't execute down when it mattered most. Evan Ingram's a huge problem, apparently.
Yeah.
Tank Bigsby as well going to get a much bigger load this week with ETN being likely out. And then give me the Rams on the other side on the money line at home against those Vegas Raiders, who are also kind of selling blowing it up. So Jacksonville and Los Angeles Rams on the money line, minus 110 odds for those two. So hopefully we get back on track with 2-1, if not a 3-0 week.
Yeah, we're praying for a 2-1. Praying for a 2-1, and we get to see it fireworks in Indy.
Yes.
But if it goes under and we go 3-0, well, so be it. Then that's okay. An under and a Dolphins winner, baby. Come on. Woo! All right. Well, that is all we've got for this week's show. We will be coming at you guys with videos from Indy, videos on the TikTok, live reactions to things, and we'll probably have some TikToks out this afternoon about the trades that went down today. A little spoiler alert. Although I guess since when this video comes out, they will already be out. So if you haven't seen them, go check out our TikTok. Link in the description. If you're not already subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment down below. Let me hear it, guys. I mean, I am 37-55 in picks this week, and no one has said a damn word to me in the comments. I mean, come on. You have an opportunity to get me, and I've got nothing to defend myself with. Bring it. I'm ready. We'll see you guys in the next one.